If you're looking to lose weight, do you do keto, the Mediterranean diet, maybe Whole30, Paleo? What do you do? Do you take Ozempic? How often should you work out? What is your relationship with food? Well, all those questions are answered today by my guest, Stephen Campolo. He is a fitness expert and nutrition expert, but he's also been there and done that. He was 100 pounds overweight as a young person and lost all that weight and reformed his body, and now has turned this into a thriving fitness coaching opportunity to help other people. And so we talk about it all, and how often should you rest and recover your body, and most importantly, what is the mindset that you need to be successful, to not only get the weight off, but to keep the weight off. You're really going to enjoy this, and I'll tell you, he is as authentic and genuine and caring as anyone I've talked to in a long time. Enjoy. Stephen is a weight loss expert who transformed from a formerly overweight child into a fitness authority, and his incredible journey began in 2003 when he started running every night in Long Island, resulting in a remarkable 100-pound weight loss in just 3 months. He did face the challenge of excess skin and lack of muscle definition because he lost so much weight so quickly. And so to overcome that, he immersed himself in learning about building the ideal male physique, drawing inspiration from the one and only Arnold Schwarzenegger's Flex magazine cover. And after countless hours of dedication and lifting thousands of pounds of iron, he achieved his goal. And Stephen has not only competed in natural bodybuilding competitions, but also collaborated with leading trainers and nutrition experts in the country as he's built his business and his personal coaching business. So, Stephen, without further ado, welcome to the show.
I'm excited to be here. Thanks for having me.
Oh my gosh, my pleasure, my pleasure. And the listeners, they enjoy this because we talk a lot about business on the show. We can talk about that some today too. But if we don't have our health, we don't have anything. And this saying, a man or a woman with their health has 1,000 wishes, and without their health, they have one. And so today's episode is really important. So I'm excited to chat about this. But you had a remarkable turnaround at a pretty young age, and you made the decision, I am not going to live this way. Can you take us back to when you were young and you were 100 pounds overweight, how that affected your life, maybe your school, certainly your friend group or lack thereof? I'd love to hear about that.
Yeah, I would love to share. So I grew up in an Italian home. So for those of you who could relate to that, food is everything, right? Family events, at home, food is just, there's a love affair with food. Mm-hmm. So from a very early age, I loved to eat. I associated food with pleasure, and I enjoyed eating. And, when you're a kid, you don't think about the repercussions of being overweight. You don't think about girls or, what's this going to do to me when I get to middle school or high school. You enjoy eating, so you just eat. But all throughout my childhood, when I had that relationship with food, it led me to gain, close to 300 pounds. So I was a sizable overweight kid.
Sure.
So as I got a little bit older, started approaching, 13, 14 years old, the age where most of us start to, see some hormonal changes happen. And I knew, okay, I was getting bullied at school, getting picked on, wasn't having any success with girls. And obviously my weight was a big role in that, especially at that age when you're developing and building self-esteem.
Sure.
It's a very big hindrance for you. So I knew I had to do something about it. And when I was finally at that age, I said, okay, I'm going to make a change here. I don't know what to do. I don't know how to start this journey. Keep in mind, this is 2003. So there was no YouTube back then, information wasn't as readily accessible as it was today. So I would always watch Rocky when he would train for a fight. He would go run, right? So I'm like, all right, I'm going to go running. That's a great idea. So I went running every night, put myself on a very restrictive diet of chicken and broccoli because, I figured how could anyone go wrong with chicken and broccoli? And the weight came off really quickly. I lost, like you said earlier, about 100 pounds in a very, very short amount of time. And that's what really led me on this journey, if you will, to developing my body, learning more about losing weight, building muscle. And it just put me on this path to where I am today, 20 years later. So, as you can imagine, once I lost all the weight, I had a bunch of loose skin because I wasn't lifting weights. So that led me to the next phase where I joined the gym, started learning about how to work out right, how to build the body. Because at that age, when you're 15, 16, 17 years old, most young men, they want to be the macho guy. They want to be strong,
Sure.
they want to have muscle. And that's really the path that I was on as well.
I mean, you just made it sound so easy and simple. And, I started running, I lost 100 pounds, but there had to be the first run. You had to go on that first run as a very overweight young person, which couldn't have been easy on your body or just your psyche, because, you probably weren't in shape and that was a lot of weight to be carrying and running. At what point did you say, today, to this day in history, I'm going to start running, I'm going to lose this weight? And what was that first run like? Because I just have to imagine that, one, it was monumental, but also probably pretty challenging.
Great question. So it was New Year's Eve. It was New Year's Eve. It was my New Year's resolution. I knew I was ready to do it. And something just clicked in my head where I said, this is the year, or this is the day I'm going to start my journey. And that's exactly what I did. January 1st of 2003. That's when I started my fitness journey. And yeah, it was horrible. I always hated running as a kid because I played sports, I played baseball, I wrestled. And I remember when the coaches would have us run, I was always the last kid to come in, because here I was 100 pounds overweight. And I always had a horrible relationship with running, but I knew it was effective for weight loss. I knew if I had to get this weight off of me, I had to do something that I absolutely hated, which was running. So, the first night I did it, I barely got to the end of my block, huffing and puffing. It probably took me 30 minutes to run, a quarter of a mile. But each night, like anything in life, with persistence and consistency, got a little better. My cardio improved a little bit. The weight started to come off, so it would slowly improve and got better and better. But yeah, like anything in life, the first time of doing anything is usually the hardest part, and that's why most people quit, because they just give up. But you realize you start to gain this perseverance when you just keep showing up, regardless of how it feels, what it looks like, and you fight through it. But it was hard.
I love it. No, I just wanted you to share that, because I don't want anybody to listen and then they go out for that first run as they're trying to change their life and they're, this is too hard. Yeah, it is hard, but atomic habits, right? Atomic habits, just keep doing it. Just keep showing up. And
even when I work with clients now, I say, if you can get through the first few weeks, that's when it's the hardest. That's when you're going to feel the most sore and you're going to question yourself why you're doing this. I promise you, if you just stick with it give yourself 2 weeks, regardless of how you feel, regardless of what you're thinking, I promise you, you're going to start forming these habits. It's going to become just almost on autopilot for you. And now it's not going to be as hard as it was before. Then you start to see results, and then it kind of begins this cascade effect of, this new lifestyle you're on. But lifestyles are created by getting through those, crappy times in the beginning where you don't want to do it, but you keep forcing yourself to do it. And then you become addicted to that progress and that feeling of overcoming. And then, like I said, it becomes on autopilot.
Then you started packing on some lean muscle and hitting the gym and kind of filling out. Tell us about that journey and that process, because again, losing the weight's one thing, but then adding lean muscle and trying to, build a lean physique, that's like a second part of this journey.
Yeah. And I would say that's the hardest part. I always tell people weight loss is relatively easy. You're just trying to lose weight. So most people lose body fat, they lose muscle mass, they lose bone density because they're just eating less, exercising more. So weight loss is easy. Fat loss, on the other hand, is a different story, because now you're just trying to lose body fat while also either keeping your lean muscle mass or improving your lean muscle mass. So doing that, it requires a lot more strategy, and you really have to have some type of game plan in place, essentially. So at the age of 16 years old, my dad got me a job at Gold's Gym, because he could see I was obsessed with weight training and this whole muscle building world. So he got me a job at Gold's Gym, and it was there that I met my first coach. There was a bodybuilder there. He was a professional bodybuilder. The guy looked like a monster. And I talked to him, and he actually agreed to coach me and get me ready for my first teenage bodybuilding show that would take place about a year later.
Wow.
So that really helped propel me, because I was lifting weights on my own before then, but I really didn't understand nutrition. I didn't understand protein. I didn't understand what I needed to eat. I was essentially still starving myself while working out a lot. So it was kind of counterproductive. So having this coach there and that mentor there to show me how to work out properly, show me how to eat properly, that's really what just transformed my physique in a relatively short amount of time.
Wow. Yeah. And then how does it transform to where this becomes your business? This becomes your way to make a living. So you compete, you've transformed your body, which so many people want to do these days. And 70% of our country is overweight or obese and needs this transformation. but then you turn it into your calling, your calling. And how does that happen?
So as far as turning this into a business, well, that didn't happen for many, many years later. I went to business school, I got my business degree, and I thought I was going to go into, maybe real estate or maybe in the financial world. Because the truth is, there was really no money in fitness back then. And I had been friends with the gym owner who owned Gold's Gym. And he always told me, it's like, never open a gym. The fitness world is very tough. It's very competitive. You don't make a lot of money owning a gym. So I figured, okay, well, I like building my body, but I want to go make some money in the business world. So got my business degree, but all the time while I was in college, I was still working out. I was still opening the gym at 5 a.m. I was still very diligent with my fitness routine, and graduated college, got a job in corporate America, did that for about 3 years, absolutely hated it. Was stuck in a cubicle for 8 hours a day. And, this is, again, I was looking at my life in the future saying, okay, well, if I'm doing this 30 years from now, I'm going to waste my life doing something I absolutely hate. And around this time, my mom was diagnosed with stage 4 colon cancer. So this kind of just came out of nowhere. And it was a huge shock to our family. And it just completely flipped my world upside down. So while she was battling this, I had a good friend who was a personal trainer at a high-end country club. So he would always personal train these CEOs and these big, powerful people in finance. So he said, hey, why don't you come personal train with me? The hours are better. You can come in early, be done by 12 o'clock noon. This way you have more time to spend with your mom and, go about it that way. Now, I felt like I was taking a step back because here I was a college graduate. I spent all this money on college. Sure. I got my business degree. Now I'm just going back to personal training. It just didn't really align with what I wanted to do. But given the situation with my mom, I said, you know what? Let me do it because, I could spend more time with her. Let's see what happens with this whole, battle. And then I could always pivot and go into something else. So fast forward a little bit, my mom did end up passing away about a year and a half later at 52 from colon cancer. And again, it kind of just set me back a little bit. I was, I guess you could say lost for about a year. Still wasn't sure what I wanted to do. I was still personal training. But around this time, I started to see social media and I was following these people on social media. And in a way, I would see these fitness people pop up and I would kind of make fun of them. Like, who's this guy selling his $10 program? And, I just never wanted to be that person. I wanted to go make money in real estate or finance. I don't want to be one of these fitness personalities. I just thought they were kind of corny, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I started digging a little bit and started seeing that some of these guys they were pretty successful. They were making, good money. But I never got into it for the money. I truly was passionate about the fitness side of things. So I said, you know what? I have a very unique story. I was very overweight when I was younger, and I'm going to share my story on my social media. Just start posting every day, posting my thoughts, my philosophies on weight loss, how I did it, the things I did wrong, things I did right. And maybe it will resonate with some people. And little by little started growing an audience and people started coming to my page and, interacting with what I was doing. So pretty early on, I saw there was a need for what I was doing and saying, but I still never planned on monetizing it or turning it into a business because, again, I just didn't want to be a slave to my phone, essentially, or a slave to social media where I had to be on, posting videos and, doing all this content stuff. I just didn't like the idea of that. So one day I got a DM on Instagram from a fitness guy who was starting this mastermind group. And he goes, hey, I see you're a fitness guy. I think you have great content. You have a great story, great message. I'm hosting an event in California, and I think it would be, really smart to come to it and learn how some of the top guys in fitness are helping more people, and you could actually make a full-time income from it, and have more ownership over your life. At the time, again, Roger, I was broke. I didn't have much money. I was a broke personal trainer, and when you're a personal trainer in Florida, Florida is very seasonal. So in season from December to May. We call them the snowbirds. All of my clients were snowbirds who were super wealthy. They had their second home in Florida. So I would train them in season, when in the summertime, it was tough. I had barely any money. So I got whatever money I had. I went out to California. And the way I looked at it was saying, you know what? I'm going to go out there and maybe this is something that it was a godsend. Maybe it was meant to be, and maybe it will change my life, or maybe this will be my confirmation that this isn't for me and I never have to think about it again. So I went out to San Diego for a weekend and got in a room with, maybe 10 other guys that were really doing well in fitness. And I just got to see the potential here. And I got to actually be shoulder to shoulder with guys just like me who were creating businesses in fitness. And I said, you know what? I could do this. Like, this isn't rocket science. It's something I'm passionate about. I could absolutely do this if I'm willing to put in the work. So I left that weekend coming home, and it was really no looking back. So I decided to start posting more and start engaging with my audience more. And the truth is, I already had demand because people were already asking me for advice. They were asking me if I had a program. They were asking me for coaching. So the demand was already there, and I just had to figure out how to systemize it. And, with technology, how can I make this as effective as possible and get people great results by doing it virtual? Because a lot of people don't understand, well, how can someone help me virtually, right? Don't you have to be with me at the gym, or don't you have to be with me to show me how to do this? But the truth is, I can get people better results virtually because now they have accountability. We're doing weekly check-ins. I'm giving them their nutrition plan versus when I was a personal trainer, people are paying me just to be with me for an hour in the gym, but then that's it, right? Where do most people screw things up? It's the other 23 hours a day when they're at home eating junk or going out. So I knew with online training, I can actually help people get better results, with more communication and a better program and nutrition and training, accountability, all of it. And that's what really started about 6 years ago. And, here we are today, and it's been a phenomenal ride. I absolutely love it. And I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world.
There's two lessons from what you just shared. One, you're doing what you love. You're doing what you have a natural passion for. And you didn't in corporate America, but you have it for fitness and for helping others. But I would say or more importantly, you made the investment and you got in a room with people who were already doing what you were aspiring to do. And I've talked about that so much on this show, is just get in rooms with people that have already done it and that can show you the path and save you so much time, effort, and headache. Because we are, the sum of the 5 people we hang out with most. And certainly we want to get into those rooms so that we have the least experience, and then we are challenging ourselves to get better. So you did that, which, ended up changing your life.
And I like to, just to kind of piggyback on that, I always like to tell people there's a big difference between price and cost, right? The price is what you pay for something today. So if you're paying for a coach, you're paying for a Starbucks, that's the price you pay today, right? But what is this going to cost you if I never would have went to that event? Let's just say that guy never reached out to me. I never went to the event in California. Where would I be today? What have that had costed me over these 5-6 years? How much money would that have costed me if I never paid the price then, right? Yep. So there's a big difference between price and cost. A lot of people get the two mixed up, but the truth is, if you don't take action, if you don't buy, maybe that book that would help you get to the next level in your business, or what if you don't invest in that coach that has the knowledge and the tool set and can fast track your success and get you on the path that much quicker, don't you think the cost is going to be much less versus whatever price that you're paying? So I think it's just a mindset thing, because again, I was very tight with my money, and I almost didn't do it, but I am so happy I did, because I wouldn't be where I am today, and we wouldn't be doing this podcast. And who knows? I might be back in corporate America, hating every second of it. So I always tell people the best investment you could ever make is in yourself. It's your knowledge. Just go for it.
This segment is sponsored by Rockbox Fitness Franchising. Take control of your destiny and join the boutique fitness revolution with Rockbox Fitness. If you're ready to make a real impact in your community and own your own business that empowers people to achieve their best life, then Rockbox is the opportunity you've been looking for. They provide comprehensive support from site selection, upfit, training, and turnkey marketing, so you can open your studio with confidence and a strong recurring revenue member base. Visit rockboxfitness.com and click on franchise opportunities to learn more about this exciting venture in the fast-growing boutique fitness industry. It's time to turn your passion for fitness and for business into a thriving venture. I would love to get your opinion on, let's get down into the weeds some. What are some of the bigger myths that you see in weight loss and fitness that we can debunk today? Like what are some of the myths that are out there, and they're kind of commonly thought about, this is a truth, but no, it's actually a myth.
Yeah.
And maybe we can debunk some of those today. What do you see as the top 2 or 3 that you have to deprogram people when they first come to in your program?
There's a lot. I mean, you've been in the health and wellness space too, so you've probably seen and heard it all. But and I think with me and why people enjoy engaging with me is because I just tell it how it is. Over the last 20 years on my own journey, I bought into all the BS myself. I did all the fad diets. I did intermittent fasting. I did keto. I did carnivore. I took all the supplements. Like, trust me, if I could have all the money back I spent on all the stuff, I'd be able to retire today. Right.
Sure.
But I think that's a good thing, because now I can tell people with 100% certainty and honesty what works, what doesn't work. And I think there's just been a big push in the fitness industry to push these products or push a certain diet that's going to get you quick results and, promise the world. But the truth is, nothing works that quickly and that fast and is that effective, right? So I always preach sustainability. Like, you should never have to cut an entire food group out of your diet, right?
Yep.
Carbs, sugar, fats. Like, if you eat a well-balanced diet, but control for calories and, get enough protein, like, you're going to get great results. There's these extreme ways of doing things. And we haven't touched about this yet, but I actually gave a TEDx talk about 5 months ago talking about how a lot of people's perfection mentality when they start a fitness journey is what leads to them ultimately self-sabotaging, binge eating, and going, just being on this roller coaster ride year after year of, going really hard for a few days, then succumbing to their cravings. And they just keep this pattern of extreme behavior. And that's what happened to me when I was younger. When I was getting ready for my bodybuilding show when I was 17, I dieted so hard for 6 months and no sweets, no treats. But the first 30 days after the bodybuilding show was over, I binge ate for 30 days straight, and I gained it, 30 pounds in a month.
Wow.
And that's what led me on this really bad relationship with food throughout my 20s. And one time I binge ate so hard that I had to have my gallbladder removed because I almost died from it. So I've had this tumultuous relationship with food throughout my 20s because I did these crazy extreme things and, extreme dieting, because you think that's the only way to do it, right? Yeah. There's only one path to get in shape. You have to be miserable. You have to hate what you're doing. You have to eat bland chicken and bland broccoli and do all the things you hate. But the truth is, you really don't. You could enjoy your life and eat great food and, work out 3 to 4 days a week and not have to kill yourself with workouts. Like, there's just so much crap BS out there that people have to realize, like, so much of it is just nonsense. If you just stick with the basics, but stay consistent enough. That's why I always preach on accountability, because if you could stay consistent through accountability and either have a coach or a spouse or a partner who's holding you accountable to what you're doing, your success is going to skyrocket. Yeah. Right? It's not the next supplement. It's not the next diet. It's not the next workout. It's not the next thing that's going to help you. So
let's play a game. Let's play a game. I've never done this actually. Let's play a game where I'm going to say a word, and then you just respond to it with a word, right? So you just respond to, like, this could be kind of fun. Keto.
Short term.
Okay. Paleo.
Sustainable.
Okay. Atkins.
Short term.
Whole30.
Not great.
Okay. All right. Mediterranean.
Sustainable.
Okay. All right. And then the last one's kind of the same as the other one. So yeah, I'm just curious how, and so let's go back to paleo.
Yeah.
And Mediterranean, because you said sustainable, and like the others are just get you short-term results, which means the weight's probably going to come back.
Yep.
What is it about paleo or the Mediterranean diet that you feel is more sustainable?
Well, those diets are more well balanced, right? So they believe in, like carbs, fats, protein. So it's a more well balanced diet. The Mediterranean diet, same thing, right? You're eating, whole foods. You're not really depriving yourself of anything. Things like keto, things like Atkins. Now you're getting into a situation where you're demonizing carbs, you're demonizing sugar. Well, what happens when you take someone that's maybe 100 pounds overweight or 50 pounds overweight and all of a sudden tell them sugar is the enemy, carbs are the enemy, you have to follow this diet? They might follow it for a week or 2 weeks, or I've even had clients follow it for months and they lose a lot of weight, but inevitably they end up hitting a wall. They end up, having these really bad sugar cravings. They end up developing an eating disorder or binge eating really badly because, I always tell people, what's the one thing, if I tell you can't have a cookie, what's the one thing you're going to want? It's probably a cookie. So when you go into these diets with this extreme, way of doing things where you can't eat sugar or carbs, it just creates this really bad and negative relationship with food. And it's not sustainable. I mean, you have one of the top fitness guys out there. You might have heard of him, Paul Saladino. He was very big on carnivore. He literally called himself, he's a doctor. He called himself the carnivore MD. And now over the last year, he's backtracked and said, well, no, I actually feel better eating fruit and honey and having carbs and, doing the whole carnivore thing, zero carbs and sugar. That actually had negative repercussions on my lab results and on how I felt. So again, even the best and smartest and brightest people out there, sometimes it takes time for them to come around and realize it's not always an extreme pattern of behavior, like it's an extreme diet like keto or an extreme diet like Atkins that is sustainable. It might help in the short term. There's no doubt about it. You might lose weight quickly, but come talk to me in a year and let's see where you're at. That's the most important.
You've used the word relationship with food, or the phrase relationship with food several times. And I like that because so many of us have a terrible, a poor codependent relationship with food, when it should be, it's what fuels our body. It's what gives us life. But so many things have been demonized, and then, the perfectionism and the guilt kicks in and all that. So I like how you've referred to it as the relationship with food, which should be a positive thing. Let's go, it's all over the news. It's, I spent 25 years in the pharmaceutical industry before I became an entrepreneur and started a fitness, boxing for fitness franchise. So, and I believe, there's some great life-saving drugs and they're needed. And the pharmaceutical industry is demonized, I think, unfairly in a lot of instances, and then fairly in some other. But, you've got Ozempic now and similar drugs that are helping people lose a lot of weight, but the people that they were really intended for are not the biggest customer. It's the people looking to get 15 pounds off or 20 pounds off that are taking these drugs. And I would just love to get your thoughts on Ozempic, short-term results, but then I think it's common knowledge now you're going to lose muscle mass as well. And then you'll gain the fat back, but not the muscle. And one, have you had experience with any of your clients using it? And two, just your thoughts overall about Ozempic and that whole class of drugs.
It's funny because I'm actually hosting a YouTube video this weekend on my experience with Ozempic. So I've personally taken it about 5 years ago. So when I was really struggling with my binge eating and, had to have my gallbladder taken out from my binge eating episode, it was a lot more life and death for me at that point. And I had to go to my doctor and say, hey, I'm really struggling with food. What options are there for me? So about 5 years ago, I did take it. I took it for about 6 months, and I had positive benefits from it. There were some side effects, there's no question about it. But I always tell people it's kind of like outsourced discipline is what it is, right? You want to eat less, you're fuller for longer. So it makes it a lot easier to just avoid, sweets, treats, things like that. Now, I think a lot of people are shocked to hear me say that because I'm a fat loss coach. So you would think I would demonize Ozempic and say, don't do it naturally. But the truth is, I do think there are some people that can greatly benefit from it, but you also have people that just want to lose 10 pounds or 20 pounds that are taking it, which I don't think is very wise. That's just a discipline issue. That's just hey, let's cut out the beer, let's cut out the wine, let's cut out the sweets, and you're going to drop the 10, 20 pounds. But for those people that have had a very bad relationship with food where regardless of what they do, they just can't say no, or they binge eat really, really badly, I think it's smart to consult with your doctor and see if maybe trying it for a short amount of time could possibly just help you get over the hump to where now you realize you do have the discipline, you do have the willpower to say no to food. I think then it could be beneficial. Now, a lot of people do it wrong because I do have a handful of clients who take Ozempic, tirzepatide, some of these GLP-1 agonists to help. But I always say, if you're going to do it the right way, though. Make sure you're getting your protein, make sure you're eating right, make sure you're working out. Like, if you're going to use that drug to help you, at least get in a proper routine and make sure you're maximizing the effect of it. Because like you said before, when a lot of people just start taking it and don't have any lifestyle changes, well, now they're just eating less food, but they're still eating crappy food, just less of it. They're not working out. So they end up losing a lot of bone density, a lot of muscle tissue, and a lot of fat. And they usually end up looking worse than when they started. So there's a right way to do it if someone is going to do it, which again, that's all personal preference, and they should consult with a medical professional first. But I'm not anti Ozempic, and I'm not pro Ozempic. I think there is positive application. Like with any medication, I think demonizing anything is probably not wise. I think there's application for every situation, but it's a personal decision.
Great answer. That was a different answer than I thought you'd give, and actually very balanced and insightful. Thank you. Let's talk about, so when somebody gets into their physical routine, their exercise routine, and we both know, it can become very addictive in the best of ways, and it becomes part of who you are. It's just part of your lifestyle. Like I'm a person who exercises, and I love the feeling I get after it, and I love the way my body looks and feels afterwards. But speak a little bit to, because like anything, like diets, we can take it to an extreme as a culture, and overtrain and hurt ourselves. Talk about how you recommend rest and recovery. Like if somebody were to come to you and say, hey, I want to do this really intensive exercise program, I'm ready to take it to the next level. Where does rest and recovery fit in your recommendations to your clients?
As I've gotten older, age kind of teaches you lessons. And I think that has definitely impacted my thoughts and my feelings about weight training and overall exercise, playing sports. Because as a young guy in my 20s, I would work out 7 days a week. I would go to my gym and do my bodybuilding workout. Then I would go to CrossFit and do a CrossFit workout to get the cardio benefits from it. And I was just a machine. I would play tennis 7 days a week. I mean, I just pushed my body to the max. And what I found, and that's why I had a number of injuries and had shoulder surgeries, and it's caught up with me. But rest and recovery is probably the most unsexy and overlooked thing in fitness, but it's the one thing that probably gives you the best possible outcome. And even now, like when I'm doing my own clients programming, 4 days a week is all I require. You don't have to go to the gym 6-7 days a week. You don't have to kill yourself, because you actually build muscle when you're resting, right? I mean, this when you're resting is when you build the most muscle. So planning out recovery, working out maybe 2 days in a row, taking a day off, working out another 2 days in a row, taking 3 days off. I mean, just splitting up and focusing on just letting your body recover. And nutrition is a big part of that too. Eating your protein and eating a well-balanced diet, that definitely plays a role. But a lot of people, again, when they start a fitness journey, they think they have to kill themselves and they have to exercise every single day for hours a day. And oftentimes that's the worst thing you could do. One thing I always tell people, the more you drive your car, the more you're going to have to fuel it up, right? Well, the more exercise you're doing, and if you're doing tons of cardio to try to lose weight, well, guess what? You're going to become hungrier. So now you're doing one thing to try to lose weight. Now you're getting hungrier and your cravings are kicking up. So now you're going to want to eat more food, and you find yourself on this perpetual cycle of just, weight going up and weight going down. So if you actually pull back a little bit and just commit to 4 days a week of good exercise and going for a walk, I'm a big advocate of getting 10,000 steps a day, something very low impact. If you could follow that, you're going to be able to do that forever. And you're not going to have to feel like, you have to go kill yourself at the gym every, 7 days a week.
Sustainable, to use one of your words earlier, sustainable. Tell us about your book, The 77 Laws of Six-Pack Abs.
Yeah.
And it outlines like this simple path so you can see results. Just share a couple of the laws with us. 77 is a lot. So share like the key. If somebody were to read the cliff notes of that, what are the keys that you preach? Yeah.
So that's a book I actually wrote during COVID time. So me and my co-author, Peter, was a really, really smart guy. We decided to get together and say, okay, let's just put every single thing we could think of in fitness. What's going to get people the best results? So in there, we have a mindset section. We have the mindset laws, because I truly believe anything begins in the mind, right? Sure. Like just having the proper expectations, managing your expectations, knowing what to expect. Like that's really, I would say, half the battle right there. So you have mindset laws in there. You have, we talk about supplements. We talk about nutritional things you could do. Like one of the laws is, don't keep certain foods in your house, right? Like if you're a sugar addict like I am, or if you are going to go eat the entire bag of Doritos, saying no once in the grocery store is infinitely easier than saying no every day when you're at home.
Yep.
Because I'm a stress eater, and I admit this. If I had a stressful day, my first inclination is want to go to the fridge or go to the pantry and just go binge eat. But if it's not there, it makes it a lot more difficult to do that. So,
set yourself up to win. Yeah, set yourself up to win.
I always say, burn every bridge that leads you down the path of destruction. So if you know that about yourself, and I think part of it is just having a super honest conversation with yourself, knowing this is where I am weak, right? There are certain series of patterns we all have followed in our life where we know, okay, if I do X, it's going to create Y. If I'm stressed, it's going to create an urge to go emotional eat, right? If I am bored, I'm going to want to go emotional eat, right? So there's just different patterns in your life that you can identify and set yourself up for success and not continue to go down those same paths. So there's quite a few laws in there, like you said, 77 of them. I'm actually working on my second book right now, which is called Breaking Up with Food. So in this book, it really talks about my own struggles with food addiction, binge eating, the things I've done that have helped me. That's something I'm really excited about because it hasn't really been talked about in the fitness industry that much. And I think it puts me in a very vulnerable place to really come out and share that. But it's something that a lot of people have struggled with is, this relationship with food, their struggles with food. Sometimes it feels like it's impossible to get results because are you ever going to be able to overcome this food addiction, or are you ever going to be able to overcome this relationship with food? But there is hope, and I'm excited to share that. So
that is a great title, by the way. I love that. That is a great title. This segment is sponsored by Beam Light Sauna Franchising. Are you looking to take control of your destiny and own your own business? Do you want a great brand in a rapidly growing market? Well, Beam Light Sauna is a nationwide health and wellness franchise with amazing opportunities in select markets. You can bring the power of infrared sauna and red light therapy to your community while you build a thriving business. Beam Light Sauna offers support that includes site selection, build out, even pre-launch programs and turnkey marketing so you can open your studio with a large recurring revenue member base. To learn more about business ownership and franchise opportunities in the fast-growing health and wellness space, go to beamlightsauna.com. That's BEEM lightsauna.com and click on franchise opportunities to learn more. Is there, you talked about mindset too, but is there a book? I'm an avid reader, the listeners know this, and I always ask guests to share a book title that has helped them overcome something, take it to the next level, just help them. Is there a book that you could recommend? And maybe, you talked about mindset, but something that could help in that aspect that the listeners could pick up and read.
One of my favorite books, it's called, most people are familiar with the Art of War. Mm-hmm. This book is called The War of Art. Mm-hmm. So have you heard of it, or have you read it?
No, this is cool.
So what it really talks about is anyone in their respective field, whether you're an author, a painter, a businessman, a YouTuber, a social media person, there is a constant war. In the book, he calls it the muse, which is, we know what we have to do. We know we have to sit down and write. If you're an author, we know we have to work on this business and do the things you really don't want to do, but we know we have to do it to move ourselves forward. Yeah. But there's something called the muse, which is procrastination. And it's almost like an energy. It's almost like a force that stops people from taking action. So this book really goes deep into why this is, and why there's this war of art, why this war of you taking action. And we know what we have to do. Like, we know we have to eat healthy, but why are we eating the donut? Why are we not getting to the gym? Why are we pushing this off for tomorrow? Why are we not doing the things today that is going to move us forward to our goal tomorrow? So that's really what this book dives into. And if someone struggles with procrastination, like I do, I'm a huge procrastinator. And that's why I have multiple coaches in my life that keep me accountable. But if you're someone that just struggles to even get started with something in your life, you feel like you keep quitting, or you feel like you're just pushing everything off until tomorrow or the new year, this book is very eye-opening, and it's a game changer. So
cool. We'll put that in the show notes. That's awesome.
Yeah,
I've not heard of that.
Yeah.
A couple last questions. So you're living this great life. You're helping so many people, but let's fast forward to the end of your life, and the day will come and we're at your funeral. and we're at your funeral, and maybe you're looking down from above or wherever, and a loved one is reading your eulogy, but your loved one is only allowed to pick three descriptive words to describe the life that you lived and the impact maybe you had. What three words, Stephen, do you hope that person says about you?
That's a tough question.
That's why I save it to the end. Yeah.
That's great. I want to be known as a man of God. That's the foundation for how I live my life and how I operate. So that's definitely one of the most important things to me. The giving. I truly believe in life. The reason why, we have the blessings we do, or why we have the ability to, maybe make money or is just to bless others. So I think just being a giver in life and sharing our experiences or sharing our skills or finances with other people to help them is a huge thing. And just caring. I just love people. And I think that's why I do what I do. But I guess you would call me an empath, where you feel other people's energy, or when you hear like a story, or when I meet someone and they're sharing their heart with me, it affects me, because I've either been there before, I can relate to them. And I think that's really the gift in life, is to go through struggles, to go through pain, to go through great trials, and be able to, share your experiences with the next person that's maybe going through it or struggling through it. Like, we all had that high school girlfriend where they broke your heart and you thought your life was over and you thought, how am I going to go on? But there was someone that, maybe I had to talk to my dad, or someone that had been through it. They're like, listen, it's okay. You're going to get through this.
Another fish in the sea. Yeah.
Exactly.
Another fish in the sea. Yeah.
I think the sharing experiences with people and going through certain painful events in life, but being able to leverage that and use that to uplift other people, that's truly what I think life is about. So,
yeah. That dovetails into the last question here, really, is, if I were to give you a magic wand, and Stephen, you wave that magic wand tonight, and we all wake up tomorrow and you change the world in one way, just one way, but you change the way the world operates, the way the world is, the way people are, however it is, but you get one wish on how you want the world to be different. When we wake up tomorrow, how is the world different according to you?
There's a great quote, and I don't know who said it, but I heard it years ago, and it truly stuck with me. Half the world is just waiting for the other half to wave, right? So a lot of times we go through life and we see people, and they might be mean or come off rude or come off dismissive, and right away, what do? Oh, that person's a jerk. That person's a this. That person's a that, right? But we truly don't know like what maybe they've been through. So sometimes taking initiative and saying, "Hey, how are you? How you doing?" Just taking the first step and saying hello. I mean, it just happened to me this morning at the gym. There's a person there. I've seen him there for months. We never talked.
Yeah.
And I just said, "Hey, how you doing?" And we were talking for 40 minutes. I almost was late to the podcast, right? Just me taking action, just saying hello and just opening that door. Now every time I see him there, we could, say hello.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people are just shy. A lot of people are socially awkward. A lot of people keep to themselves. But the truth is, most people, if you just say hello or engage with them, you'll be so surprised at how people are so receptive to it. And they were just waiting for someone to say hello, and they'll open up to you and say hello back. So I know it sounds like very cliche, but the truth is, if more people just went through life like that and just was more open and receptive and saying, okay, well, why is this person like that? Why did they come off rude? Why did they come off dismissive? What if I would have just said hello? I always tell my wife this, and it's been a challenge for me, because I feel like today people are they're not nice. They're not, customer service has gotten really bad. And I'm the one that goes into businesses and say, "Hey, how are you? How you doing?" And I don't even get that back from, when I walk in the store. But I try to just think of, okay, when this person was a kid or a child, right? Like, what have they gone through to get them to a point where maybe they're like this, right? Like, what trauma have they been through? What's affected them to maybe have them act this way today, right? So everyone's, you've probably heard this before, everyone's fighting a battle that nothing about. So just trying to be more open-minded and receptive of other people and, their own life struggles, and just being more open to saying hi to people. And I think if more people were like that, I think the world would be a much different place.
Yep. Kindness. Yeah. Kindness. Most important question, Stephen, where can people follow you, connect with you, learn more about you, engage with you? How do they do that?
Sure. So I'm on all the platforms. So Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. It's just my first and last name. So Stephen with a BH, Stebhen. Then my last name, Campolo, Campolo. That's, send me a message on Instagram, Facebook. I'm very responsive there. So anyone who has a question needs help.
We'll put that in the show notes too, so we won't just click right on that. Awesome. I want to thank you for coming on, sharing your expertise, but as I think just as importantly, just your spirit. Like, you are truly a genuine dude that I can tell wants to help other human beings. It just came through loud and clear in this interview. So thanks for bringing that energy onto the podcast today.
Thank you so much. That means the world to me, and that's why I do what I do. So I appreciate that coming from you. That means a lot, and thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure. Thank you for tuning in to the ThriveMore podcast. Don't forget to take a look at the show notes for any of the resources that we mentioned during the podcast. And if you haven't already, be sure to hit the subscribe button and turn on your notifications so you have access to the latest and the greatest. You can connect with me on any of the socials at Real Roger Martin. And be sure to check out our website, ThriveMoreBrands.com. There you'll find information on the brands we support and information on franchising. Thanks again for tuning in.